Hello book lovers, and welcome back or welcome to Nat Cat's Bookish Cafe. I am here to start my week 2 vlog of the Ancient Wonders Readathon hosted by Liz's Literary Life. Alright guys, so this vlog is going to go through today, which is Saturday, through next Sunday, which is the 18th when this vlog ends. I will have it linked down below week 1 vlog where I do go a little bit into detail about what this readathon is about. I'm not going to do that again since that was a very long clip. I'm also going to go ahead and link Liz's announcement video down below if you want to check that out as well. So I'm pretty much going to just dive into all of this as if you know what's going on, and hopefully you do. If not, and you're just here for the book reviews, that's totally fine as well. It is Saturday. I think it's a little after 10ish. I just got back from running an errand with my dad, so I figured I would go ahead and introduce this vlog before jumping into some other chores. I need to vacuum the house, clean the bathroom, and then me and my mom are gonna make some strawberry jam today. So as far as reading goes, I don't know how much I will get done because I do also want to finish editing week 1's vlog because I've only edited like a little portion of that. As far as reading goes, audiobook wise, I believe the book is called She Drives Me Crazy. I can't remember the author, but I'll have an image here. I'm not sure if I'll start that today or even this weekend. Audiobooks definitely are more of a weekday read for me since I listen to them while I work, but just to let you know, you can look forward to me reading that book and my review on it. It's a book that I've been eyeballing for a while and I'm excited to get to it. As far as my physical book, I am getting to another book that I've very much been looking forward to. In fact, I double checked and this is actually on my 5-star prediction list, and that is Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ning. I read 7 pages this morning before I had to run out on my errands, so I don't have really anything to say about this so far. This book is a historical story following a Chinese American family in the 1970s after the death of the family's favorite daughter. So far, what I've read, it seems that they woke up on a school day and are realizing that she is not there anymore and that it looks like her bed hasn't been slept in. It doesn't look like she's taken anything with her. And the mother is just now starting to realize that something is wrong. So as I mentioned, so far I don't really have anything to say about it. It's not as if the writing has overly gripped me or anything like that, but at the same time I'm definitely intrigued about where this story is gonna go. So that is good news. I am going to be using this for a military prompt. I don't know yet which one I'm going to do. It kind of depends on what's available on the bingo board. Once I finish this, it could definitely be used for like a water element, seeing as there's one water on the cover, and also our character is found drowned in the lake. That's not a spoiler, that's in the synopsis. It could also be used as a small town setting since the character mentioned that they live in a town with less than 3,000 people living in it. So we will see. It's less than 300 pages. I think it's 292 pages. It would be nice if I finished it this weekend, but you know, I never want to set that kind of goal for myself because I never seem to meet it and then I feel bad. So we're just gonna finish it when we finish it. Other than that, I don't really have anything to say. I don't know if I'll update you later today once I get a little way further into this book, but for now I'm gonna go ahead and change into some work clothes so that I can clean my bathroom without worrying about getting chemical stains on my actual clothes. just want to check in with my initial thoughts for everything I never told you, because I just finished the first chapter, so the first 24 pages. I will say that this author did a really great job of hooking me into the story. Right away, I'm thoroughly invested in this family, as well as the mystery revolving around the daughter's death. We already know things are not as they seem with the daughter that has passed away, and that she was keeping secrets, and that their parents are starting to realize that. It seems like her siblings had a better idea of what was really going on, but of course the parents only saw what they wanted to see. It seems to be a theme that I enjoy seeing in books, kind of the same as in The Death of Vivek Oji, where parents have a certain assumption about who their child is, and then after they're gone, they start to realize that they didn't really know who their kid was, and that their kid was taking steps to kind of mislead them about their life, or the life that they were leading. So I'm definitely looking forward to uncovering not just uncovering more about the daughter who has passed away, but as well as everybody else. I don't know too much about them, but we've gotten like a sprinkle about each of them, just enough to get me intrigued by who they are and the role that they play in this family. So I definitely can see this being a book that I work my way relatively quickly through, because it's definitely the kind of book that you quickly get immersed in and just want to keep reading so you can see where it goes. So I will go ahead and keep you updated as I go along. So it is evening now on Saturday, and I finished chapter 2 of Everything I Never Told You. It was a little bit slow going. These chapters are kind of long. I think this one was like 30 pages, but this chapter covered the meeting of Marilyn and James, who are the parents of this household. Marilyn is a white woman who is incredibly intelligent and actually wanted to become a doctor. James is a Chinese man who is also incredibly intelligent and has a PhD in history. He is the son of 2 Chinese parents, his father being what is known as a paper son. There was a time in American history where Americans decided there's too many Chinese people in America, so they said the only people who could come from China were the children of people that already lived there. So a lot of people would pretend that they were someone else's son. Like if that person had lost a child to death or something, they would then pretend to be that child and move to America. And that is what happened with his father. James spends a lot of his time just wanting to blend in because his father and mother went to work at a private elementary school as a janitor and in the kitchen. He was able to attend this school but was the only Oriental person there and really didn't enjoy standing out. He experienced this all throughout elementary school, high school, and college. And so when he found this everyday white woman who completely blended in and loved him, that was something that he was really attracted to. On the other side, Marilyn really wanted to stand out. She was the girl who didn't want to go into the home ec class. She wanted to go into shop, and she also wanted to go to school to actually learn. When at this time in history, a lot of women were going to school mostly so that they could find a husband. And so when she found a husband who isn't, like every other sandy-haired white boy that she has met, she was attracted to that. So it's kind of interesting. She went with him to be different and he went with her to be normal, and they just found a relationship that really worked for the both of them. I really enjoyed this chapter, just watching two people who at this time in history were not expected to succeed or have many opportunities within the academic settings, doing so well, if not being at the top of their class, yet at the same time seeing that even for them, being at the top of their class didn't open as many doors as it would for white men at this time. So the story is definitely very intriguing, and I am very interested, especially in Marilyn's point of view of motherhood moving forward, seeing as at the beginning of the story she's not a doctor. So clearly she had to give up that dream of being a mother, and since they put so many of their hopes and dreams on Lydia, the daughter who passes away, I'm assuming that her shattered dreams and her hopes of her daughter fulfilling those dreams may have played a role in leading Lydia down the path that ended in her death. I'm currently on page 56. I was kind of hoping to get to page 100 tonight, but since this is literary fiction, it's not exactly the kind of book that you just fly through, even if you are really sucked into the story. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'm definitely hoping to get to page 200 by the end of the weekend to give me a relatively good chance of finishing this by Monday. That is just the goal. We'll see if I achieve it or not, but having a great time so far. As we get more and more entangled in this family's life, I can still see this as being a potential 5-star read for me. Hey guys, so it is a Sunday evening and I am just checking in. I didn't check in earlier today. I was hoping to spend a lot of time reading today, but I ended up going on a Costco run with my mom and didn't end up getting home until around 2. But I did do quite a bit of reading despite that. I'm on page 170 of Everything I Never Told You. I'm kind of hoping to get to close to page 200, at the very least, the end of chapter 7, which I believe was around 195, 194. I am enjoying this book quite a lot. It's a little bit difficult. My mental health seems to not be like 100% right now. I'm feeling a lot better since I ate like an actual meal today. Like earlier today I had just a smoothie, and I think that just wasn't enough for my brain. I was feeling overly anxious about who knows what, and just like a little bit down and whatnot, which this book didn't help with at all. But at the same time, I'm still really enjoying the family dynamics of this family. I think it's incredibly interesting. So we have James and Marilyn, who are the parents, and then we have Nathan, who is the oldest, and then Lydia, who's the second oldest, the child that they love the most, or the parents put the most effort in, put most of their hopes and dreams on, the one that is dead. And then there is, I believe her name is Hannah, and I feel bad that I don't know her name that well. She just doesn't pop up that much because she's kind of like almost an irrelevant person in her family, and so that makes her a very small part of the book as well, which is really sad. But it's just the way that the family is set up, and you just really see how the parents are projecting themselves onto their children. Like James, the way that he is worried that Nathan is turning out to be too much like him, and he feels a lot of like disappointment and fear about the fact that his son doesn't have more friends and isn't good at sports and things like that, and doesn't take a lot of interest in what his son has interest in. He just has like these certain ideas of who his son should be so that he could be more like a white guy, and so he puts a lot of his hope on Lydia, which her mother does as well, because her mother wants her to become a doctor, which she never was able to do, and her father wants her to be able to be someone who can integrate into white society seamlessly. And so both of them put so much of their happiness on Lydia, and Lydia at this point is really struggling, and has actually been struggling for quite a while, just sacrificing parts of herself over and over again to make her parents happy. So at this point, we're starting to see that things are kind of falling apart for Lydia. She's just not able to keep up anymore. She doesn't have the I hate to say it, but the intelligence to be performing at the level that her mother wants her to be performing at in order to get a doctorate at some point, and that's definitely negatively impacting her mental health. So I'm interested in learning more about her and Jack's relationship to see kind of what he did for her, because Jack is kind of the town bad boy. He's known for kind of sleeping around and, you know, hitting and quitting it. But she and Jack were hanging out a lot shortly before she died, and Nathan blames Jack for her death. But I have a feeling that things were a bit more complicated than that. So definitely very interested to get to experience Lydia's life and the weeks leading up to her death to see if it was an accidental death or to see if it was in fact a suicide as the police predict. But overall, I am having a really good time. I don't know if I'll be able to give this 5 stars just because I'm enjoying this read, but I'm not like having a good time reading it, mostly because it's negatively impacting my already not great mental health. There's a part of me that thought maybe I should put this down a little bit, but I'm just so immersed in the story that I don't want to. I'm just gonna keep hurting myself. But no, it's not that bad or anything. I'm hoping that it was just a little bit of a dip into some mood swings and whatnot. I am coming out of my period for a little bit of TMI there. But yes, still enjoying this book and will continue doing some reading today. If I get to page 200 tonight, I mean, there's a shot in hell that I might finish the book tomorrow, but it may go into Tuesday as well. We'll see. All right, the sun is like right here, so let me just like put a big shadow over my face. Sorry. But there is something about one of the characters, not one of the main characters, but one of the side characters, that for some reason since the beginning I have predicted. I just got a vibe. I don't know if I'm just in tune to these things, but it has just been verified, and now I'm even more intrigued about that plot line and that character and their relationship to Lydia, as well as to see how their relationship with other characters in the story develops. So I am on page 212, not much further than when I checked in with you guys yesterday. It is Monday. I'm on my first break, soaking up the sunshine. I don't know if I will finish this book today, but I am absolutely loving it at this point. So I am still optimistic about a 5-star read, and I will let you know when I finish this. All right, it is a little bit past 9, so I feel like the lighting is not good because it's very late. The sun is like setting. But I just finished Everything I Never Told You, and it's 5 stars. It is 5 stars. I feel like I sound like I'm on the verge of crying, because I am. Oh my gosh, that ending was so heartbreaking. Oh my gosh. Of all the things that could have happened, that hurt the most. Yeah, I definitely whew. But I don't even know what to say. Sometimes you read a 5-star book, kind of like when I was reading The Death of Viva Goshi. You can't summarize your feelings on the book. They're just like, sometimes I was reading this and I was like, what do I love about this book? It's I don't know, is it the characters? Is it the writing? Is it the plot? Is it all of it and the way it just works together? Did this author just, find the perfect ingredients and just mix them together just right? And I don't know, but this book was so addictive. It's one of those books where you just want to keep reading it, and when you put it down, you're thinking about it. And even when you're like not even done with the book, you're like, when I finish this, I could honestly just pick it up and start from the beginning again, because it's one of those books where you just know every time you read it, you'll just get something more from it. And finishing it, you want more, yet at the same time, the author gave you exactly what you need. So I'm not going to say too much on it because I've already said a lot about, the family dynamics. This book really does focus a lot on relationships between husband and wife and siblings and parents and their children, and just how one's insecurities and one's failures impact those around you. And it was just so well done. I feel like this is a book that I need to sit with a little bit, because I just finished it like 2 seconds ago. But 5 stars. 5 stars. Oh, I'm so glad I read this book. What's kind of weird, I always consider myself like a romance and fantasy girly, but when I pick up a literary fiction that hits just right, those will impact me more than like any romance or fantasy that I could ever read. And this is one of those. So, yeah. As far as my audiobook goes, I have like an hour left. The audiobook was only 7 hours, but I just wasn't really feeling it, so I kept stopping it and like listening to music while I was at work instead. So I'm not going to talk about that tonight. I'm going to talk about it tomorrow after I finish that last hour or so. But at this point, it's going to be a 3-star, a very middle of the road book. So that is a bit of a bummer after reading this stellar book. But I'm going to head in because it is very late. And I will let you know tomorrow what book I am picking up next. Hey guys, so it is still Monday. It's almost 10 o'clock. I need to get ready for bed because I still got work in the morning. But I just finished writing my review for Everything I Never Told You, as well as creating a thumbnail for my week 1 vlog. And I just wanted to let you know real quick my reading plans for the remainder of the readathon at this point when it comes to physical reads. So you can see, like, which way do I need to point? Here, right here. Aristotle and Dante Dive into the Waters of the Universe is the only book I have left on my TBR from my TBR game, which puts me in a really great position. However, that book is over 500 pages, so I decided I'm not going to read it for this readathon. This readathon just goes through the 18th, so I still have plenty of time to read that in the second half of the month. So what I decided to do is that the next book I would read was Warriors Into the Wild by Erin Hunter. This is a 6-book series, a kids series that I read when I was young, and it's part of my 6 books or 6 series that I want to reread this year. And since there's 6 books in the series, it would be nice if I could read at least 1 a month. Therefore, starting this in June is a good idea. Plus, it's a kid's book, so hopefully it will be a relatively quick read. Will I be able to read this in one day? Probably not, since tomorrow after work, I don't know if I mentioned this already, I finally get to pick up my car, but I also need to do some errands up in that area by the mall. So I don't know how much reading I will be doing, but I'm hoping to finish this relatively quickly since it is a kid's book. So this will be my next book. Do I know what it's about? Not really. I just know the main characters are cats. I think they live kind of in clans. Yep, for generation 4 clans of cats have shared the forest, but Thunder Clan is in grave danger and Shadow Clan grows stronger every day. In the midst of this turmoil appears a house cat named Rusty, who may turn out to be the bravest warrior of them all. So I always remembered this series as being like kind of darkish for a kid's series, but we'll see how it holds up now that I'm an adult. So this will be my next read. Then I have 2 other books. If I could get to them both, that would be great. If not, I need to decide which one I want to prioritize. They're both like pretty much the same length, just a little over 200 pages. I think one of them is like 215, the other's like 219 or something. But the first one is Desperate Measures by Katie Roberts. This is the first book in her Wicked Villains series, and it's, I think, more erotica than anything else, and it's a Jasmine and Jafar romance. So being a romance, being erotica, I figure it would be a relatively quick read. The other option is a novella, The Emperor of the Evening Star by Laura Thalassis. This is marked as book 3 in the Bargainer series, but it is technically a novella, and is also a prequel because I believe we are following the Bargainer before he meets Calypso, who is his mate. Kind of when he was younger. I think he was kind of part of like a gang or something in the Fae world. I know we've gotten glimpses of his past in book 2, and it was definitely really intriguing, so I wouldn't mind getting to that either. At this point, either of them could work really well point-wise, since I'm focusing on military and science, and both of those have a lot of flexible prompts in them. So I will just go ahead and read this, and then we'll see what I'm in the mood to read when I finish it, and I will let you know, of course. Hey guys, so it is Tuesday. I'm on my 10 o'clock break, and I finished the last hour of my audiobook. Let me scooch over a little bit, which was She Drives Me Crazy by Kelly Quinlan, and I am giving this 3 stars. I don't have too much to say about this book because I just wasn't super vibing with it. The main issue is that I wasn't vibing with the main character. So pretty much we are following Scotty. She is our narrator, and she is on a basketball team in a small town, and no one cares about the basketball team or anything like that. I think they only care about like soccer and like the guys basketball team or something like that. Anyway, so pretty much her team doesn't really get any support, and that negatively impacts their playing. She also has been struggling because her girlfriend transferred to another school and broke up with her because of that. There is also a very popular cheerleader called Irene, and one day the 2 of them get into like a fender bender kind of situation, and their parents come, and one of the cars needs to go to the shop. So the parents are like, oh, you guys should carpool since you guys only have 1 car. Even though the 2 of them don't get along at all, because Irene had Scotty's car towed from a party the year before, so there's some tension there between the 2 of them, but they're trying not to make any drama with their parents, so they're like, yeah, totally, we'll do that. So pretty much because Irene is carpooling with Scotty, she shows up to their basketball practice to wait for her carpool, and a bunch of people follow her. And the basketball team is like, oh my gosh, we have all these people supporting us right now. And also Scotty's ex-girlfriend notices that she and Irene are driving together and reaches out and are like, hey, are you like dating her? Like, what the heck? And so Scotty propositions Irene to fake date so that Irene goes to the basketball games and people come and support the basketball games, and also so that Scotty can make her ex-girlfriend jealous. And Irene gains like $1,000 that she needs to pay off the deductible for her car insurance for the car damage kind of situation. So, which I feel like is a lot of money for a high schooler to shell over for a fake dating scheme. Like $1,000. I wouldn't even give that much, and I have like a full-time job as an adult. But whatever. Anyway, Scotty, I think I had certain ideas of like the kind of person she would be, and maybe that's on me for stereotyping because she was a basketball player. I thought she would be kind of like really kind of tomboyish, or she would be more like a tough kind of character kind of situation, but she was kind of wimpy, which, you know, I feel bad for saying that because she was definitely going through it, and people were pointing out the fact that she was definitely letting her insecurities take over. And I just felt like it took too long for her to get out of that slump. And for the story to kind of like progress beyond that point. For some reason, I just like didn't care about her personal problems at all. The person I was most interested in was Irene. I just thought that she was a really interesting character. She was someone that people had a lot of assumptions about, and throughout the story we got to see that those assumptions were not true. So I was really interested in learning more about her and her passions and whatnot. As far as the relationship goes, I didn't care about it that much. So yeah, this book, it was very middle of the road for me. It didn't really evoke much emotion, so I don't have too much to say about it, which is why I'm just giving it a 3-star. That's what it gets. As far as my next audiobook that I will probably be starting at some point today, I will be starting Love and Other Disasters by Anita Kelly. I picked this one up because the June buzzword, or the June word for Buzzwordathon, is other. And I've kind of been doing these out of order. Anytime I read a book that fulfills one of those prompts, I've just been like knocking it out or anything. I haven't been doing them in the specific months. But when I noticed that this queer book matches with the June prompts, since it's Pride Month, I was like, you know what? That's perfect. I don't know too much about this book, and I honestly haven't heard a lot of positive reviews around it, but I do believe that it is featuring a non-binary character as well as a cooking show. And as someone who is a fan of Food Network, I'm hoping that I have a good time with it. So we'll see. I don't know anything else about it. Once I get a little way into it, I will let you guys know. As far as my physical book, I woke up at like 4 o'clock this morning. I am very tired, and I'm hoping it doesn't reflect too much in my crappy review of these books. But I had like an hour to read this morning by the time I finally crawled out of bed and like gave up on sleep. And I read 10 pages of Warriors. So that shows you how tired I am, because this is a kid's book. I feel like in an hour, I should definitely be able to read more than 10 pages. So hopefully I make some more progress in this. I think during lunch I have to do just some prep for doing some after work shopping, because I need to go to Ulta. So I need to take a picture of all the products that I need to restock on, because I can't keep that information in my head. I need a picture so I know what I'm looking for. But yes, I will go ahead and continue this and update you. I probably won't talk too much about it because it's like a kid's book kind of situation, but here we are. By the way, for the She Makes Me Crazy book, I ended up submitting that for a military. Our team is trying to focus on military right now because I guess there's a lot of battle stuff going on. I have to admit, I haven't been like keeping up with any of that because the Discord, it's moving too fast. I can't keep up. Like every time I come in, there's like a whole new thread, and I'm like, I'm just gonna read the last 5 posts to kind of like figure out what's going on. But it seemed like we were focusing on military. So I did submit that for the prompt of small town setting, since this was set in a small Christmas town kind of situation, which was also a little cheesy, if I have to be honest. And so that got me another 10 points. Moving forward, I will either use military or science, I guess, depending on what my team needs most. So I will return to work and check in with you whenever I have something to say.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food.
Alright guys, you're crooked because this is the only way that I can like hold my camera up without the thing like flipping forward. But a quick Ulta haul. So I spent just over $100, like $101. And I have 3 things to show here. I got a 4th thing, but that's a gift, so we're not gonna show it here. But I meant to get like a face powder, you know, kind of what you put over your foundation so it doesn't look as oily or whatever, because I have kind of oily skin sometimes. But all of them were like $36, $42, and I was like, excuse me, do I look like a Kardashian? Like I can just shell out that kind of money on makeup? I swear, every time I walk in there, makeup is getting more and more expensive. And I'm like, y'all better be paying your workers great, giving them like freaking retirement and paid leave and, you know, humane process of creating these things, you know, no animal testing, none of that, sustainable packaging, all of it. With the way you guys are pricing this stuff better have flakes of gold in it. But pretty much I opted out of that. I got a refill of this hair oil by Olaplex. I've been using it for a while and I've been really happy with it. I actually got recommended this by Noelle Gallagher. She's a YouTuber that I follow, pretty popular. You may know about her. So I am running low on this, so I went ahead and snatched another one up. I then needed to get some new hair conditioner, and I hardly ever use the same hair products twice because I don't know what to do with my hair. I really don't. But I saw this one and it had like the little bunny symbol, and I was like, you know what, we'll give it a try, and it smells really good as well. This one is for thickening conditioner. I feel like I lose a lot of hair when I'm in the shower, which, you know, I don't like to see. So I don't know if this actually means that it's gonna like thicken my hair or what, but we're gonna give it a go, and that is from Tea Tree. So hopefully that's good. And the last thing I got is I needed a new cleanser. The one I was using was not one I was going to continue using it. I got a facial once, and then they recommend you know, all their overpriced products, and you don't want to look poor even though you just spent $100 on a facial, so you buy it, and it was like $42 for like a little bottle, and I'm like, never again. It was nice, but you know, I'm not that rich, so we're not going to do it again. What I did see is this from Peach Slices. Is this a good company? I don't know. There's like 30,000 companies in that store. So this was just one of the first ones I saw. I saw that it had redness relief, and I do have a lot of issues with redness, like kind of, you know, like in my T-zone. Plus this said it was based off of like Korean style skincare, and whenever people are talking about skincare, they are bringing up Korea. So I'm like, you know what, we will give it a try. It wasn't too expensive. I looked online, it had, you know, over an average of a 4-star rating, so we will see how this goes. So that is my purchase for now. I do still need to get one product that they didn't get or didn't have. It was kind of like this lip mask that I like to use because I get crusty lips pretty easily. But yes, so that was my little Ulta haul, and I also have my car back, as you can see. So I dropped about $600 today between the $100 I just spent as well as my $500 deductible. Consider me a poor woman. And yes, I do have plans on going book shopping next weekend. Responsibility? We don't know who she is. Anyway, I haven't done any really sort of reading. I did start my audiobook and I'm a little over 25% through that. For the life of me, I cannot remember the name of it right now. And there's not really any room for me to like put the picture up. I'll try and put it up here, but I am actually enjoying it because I went into this with relatively low expectations. I think I mentioned that, where I was kind of like, well, I feel like I haven't heard the greatest things about it, but I'm actually having a relatively good time. I think it's really fun. I think the characters are really fun. I really like their dynamic. And yeah, I mean, it takes place on a cooking show. It's a great setting. I think whatever characters, I know the non-binary character is called London. The other one, I don't know what her name is. I don't, but the other one, not London, I think she has a really quirky, fun personality. I just like instantly clicked with her. She, strangely enough, has a personality where I could easily find it annoying, but with her, I'm really liking it. So yeah, and as far as my physical book goes, The Warriors, I read a little bit more over my lunch break and don't really have anything to say on that. It's a cookbook. I don't remember anything about this book whatsoever, but I will probably try to get a bit more reading done. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and drive home and I will talk to you later. All right, guys, so I got home and you can see my blinds, so sorry. And there was a package waiting for me and I think I know what it is. Ooh. I ordered some bookmarks a little while ago because I just saw someone had them. And of course my dad starts mowing the lawn right next to my window. He was in the front yard a few seconds ago and now he's in the backyard. But anyway, I ordered these and like I spent like a little more money than I usually would. This vlog is just about me spending money, I guess. But they were really cute and so I decided, I mean the bookmarks themselves were fairly priced. It was just the shipping which was ridiculous, but the creator doesn't have any control over that as far as I know. So let's take a look-see-loo real quick. So these are from, let's see, I can't read that. That's very cursive-y writing. Let's see. So I think their name is The Name Library, but it's spelled TheNamelLibrary. So it's The Name Library, but 2 E's in the word the and 2 in library. And I'll go ahead and link that down below as well. And look how cute this is packaged. So let's go ahead and open that up. So I got 2 and I believe they're wood. Okay, so I got their Egyptian one, which is super cute. I had to get it, of course, because of the black cat. And there's their little symbol on the back as well. And then I got their kind of monsters one, which I mostly got because of these cute little bats. So those are really cute. So definitely go ahead and check out their shop. And like I said, they'll be listed down below.
You make me wanna feel something.
Wednesday afternoon, or it is not Wednesday afternoon, it's Wednesday evening, a little bit before 8 o'clock, and I just finished my audiobook Love and Other Disasters by Anita Kelly, and I am going to give this book 4 stars. I had a really great time with this. I can't remember if I really told you what this book is about. Pretty much we are following 2 characters, Dahlia and London, and they are taking part in kind of like an amateur cooking competition. And while they are there, they develop a romance. And that is pretty much the gist of it. However, I absolutely loved the characters. I loved their romance. I loved the cooking show, setting, the descriptions of the food. I definitely think there could have been more description of food though, for sure. And I really enjoyed the non-binary representation as well. I really thought Dahlia was a fun character. She was really bubbly and had a great personality, and I really loved how much she supported London as well as the other contestants that she got along with. But she was also a very dynamic character in that she had a lot of insecurities that stemmed a lot from the fact that she got a divorce at a relatively young age. And it's, never easy to start out your adulthood with, what a lot of people consider a failure, even if the divorce is what was best for her. And she just didn't really know where she wanted to go in life, and approaching 30, sometimes that's not the most pleasant feeling to have. So I did like seeing her work through those issues. London, on the other hand, I thought London was really sexy. And the narrator, the voice that they use for London, like especially like during the sex scenes, I was like at work and I was like no work is getting done right now because hello London. So I really enjoyed London as well. I thought they were a really strong character, and I enjoyed their relationship with their family and reading about the struggles that they were having with their father. Well, I didn't like enjoy that part, but I thought it was an interesting aspect of the book since their father was struggling with accepting them as a non-binary person. So lots going on in that book, and I just overall had a really great time. I did go into it with relatively low expectations. When I looked on Goodreads, a lot of the people that I follow actually gave it relatively high ratings, other than the person that like took off half a star because of like the toe sucking. And I do have to admit, it was just like a second, like a sentence where it mentioned that, but I was like, no, this don't put her toe in your mouth, please. But to each their own, no judgment here. But yeah, they seem to really enjoy it. I guess the few reviews that I saw on Bookstagram were from people who just didn't vibe with it as much, but I vibed with it, and I think you should check it out, and hopefully you vibe with it as well. I do not have another audiobook lined up, so I will have to check out to see what's available on Libby right away, that I can go ahead and start tomorrow. As far as my physical book, I've been reading relatively slowly. One, I've been busy, so I just haven't been reading as much, but I have exactly like 100 pages left. I'm on page 174, and there's like 270 something pages in this book, so I'm probably gonna spend the rest of tonight reading, but I may also watch like a YouTube video or two, so I'm not too optimistic about finishing, but I am really enjoying the story. I mean, I don't feel like I'm reading a kid's book. Like, to a degree, yeah, it feels like a kid's book, but it doesn't feel like overly childish or overly simplistic or anything like that. So I'm having a good time, and I will go ahead and update you guys when I finish this, as well as letting you know what I'm going to read next. Oh, that reminds me. As far as points, I'm going to double check with my team real quick to see if we are focusing on military points or science points, and then see if I can go ahead and put love and other disasters towards one of those. So I don't know yet where I'm putting it, but I will go ahead and upload that right now. All right, so point wise, I've decided to use the science prompts for love and other disasters. So my team doesn't have to go in order. We can choose 2 random prompts as long as they're from 2 different point values. So obviously I'm going to choose one from the 8 and 16 to get the most amount of points. And I am going to do the new to you because this is my first book from this author, and then the other one is going to be I believe there was one that said that it was own voices. Yes, because this author is queer and the characters in this book are queer as well. So that'll get my team another 24 points. It is Thursday morning. I am on my 10 o'clock break, and I'm here to update you because I finished another book, another audio book. This one was only 2 hours long, so that's why I finished it so quickly. And that is The Empress of Salt and Fortune by Nevo. And this follows a character who comes from an abbey. I think they're like a cleric or something. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And it seems like it's kind of their job to document stories and history of the empire. And they were traveling to document an eclipse when the empire opened up access to certain lands where people had previously not been allowed, which includes the land where the previous empress had been exiled by the previous emperor. As she arrives there to document this area, she comes across Rabbit, who used to serve right beside the Empress during her exile. We follow as the cleric kind of goes through this house, manor, whatever you want to call it, and kind of picks up different objects, and Rabbit tells stories associated with those objects, as well as a bit of about the Empress during her time in exile and how she became the ruler in the end. I'm giving this story 4 stars. I think for a short story, it did a really great job of creating a fleshed out plot, and I did really enjoy all the characters as well. I did feel a connection to them despite not spending a lot of time with them. I thought that the story was really interesting and enjoyed the writing as well. Since it's so short, I don't want to say too much about it or even really have much to say about it other than I enjoyed the time I spent in the story, and look forward to picking up the next book in this series. I may even check and see if that one's available now. But as far as point value goes, I am using this for scientific since there wasn't anything available on the bingo board right now that fits it. So I did, once again, new to you author, and then I also did start a series since it's the first book in a series. So that is what I just finished. I'm starting another short audiobook, and I'm looking over here so I can remember the name. Untethered Sky by Fonda Lee. I have read from Fonda Lee before. I read the Greenbone Saga and absolutely loved it. So I'm interested in checking out their next book. I haven't bought the book because it's really short. The audiobook is only 4 hours, but the book itself I think is priced like 20 something dollars, and you know, I'm sorry, I'm just not willing to spend that much money on such a short book, but it was available right away on audiobook, so I'll definitely be checking that out. It seems we are following a young girl whose mother and younger brother were killed by a manticore, and she joins a group that kind of partners with these kind of falcon-like creatures, and they go out and kill the manticore together. So I think I haven't heard too much about this story. What I have heard about it was kind of okay and towards good, so I haven't heard anything bad about it. So that is good. So I will go ahead and start reading that probably after lunch, because I'm about to, after my break, jump into a workload where I don't listen to audiobooks. I was doing that in the last 2 hours of the day, but this workload is a little bit more difficult, hence why I'm not listening to audiobooks. And so I don't want to save it till the end of the workday where my brain is kind of like already tired. So I'm doing it this morning, and then after lunch I will go ahead and jump into that next audiobook. I am still working on my physical book, Warriors. I am hoping to finish that today though. So, you know, I may finish a total of 3 books today, which would be nice. I am probably going to primarily focus on science just to rack up the most amount of points, but if there is a bingo or a bingo spot available that matches one of the books I finish and it brings us a lot closer to a bingo or even gets us a bingo, I may go ahead and submit it for that as well. We'll just see how the board looks when I am completing my books. But yeah, that is all for now, and I will check in with you later. Hey guys, so I'm on my 3 o'clock break. In fact, it's going to end very soon, so I'm just jumping in here real quick to let you know that I finally finished Warriors. I think this took me like 4 days, which is about twice as long as I thought it would take me, but that is okay. It is finished. When I was looking at the bingo board, there was the element of fire still available on that, and that would apply to this because the cat's name was Firepaw, and there was kind of a prophecy about only fire can defeat the Shadow Clan kind of situation. If that's not available, I'll probably use this for another science prompt, but I'm gonna give this 4 stars. I had a lot of fun with this story. I think I already said pretty much why I liked it. Even though it's a young kids book, it definitely had a good plot, some good characters, and some good intrigue, and I enjoyed the writing and all that jazz, and I'm excited to pick up the next book in the series, which probably won't happen until July, but that's okay. So I'm finished with that. The next book I'm gonna go ahead and start is, and I keep forgetting the name of the book for some reason, The Emperor of Stars or something like that, by Laura Thalassis, the 3rd book in the Bargainer series. I decided to start this one instead of Desperate Measures because it's a continuation of a series instead of starting a new series. So we're gonna focus on continuing with series because the list of series that I'm in the middle of is very long. So I'm gonna go ahead and start that later today. As far as my audiobook, which is The Untethered, I don't know the name of any of the books I'm reading apparently, by Fonda Lee, and I think I'm already about 30-something% through that. So far it's okay, you know. I feel like this is going to be one of those stories where it's, you know, kind of entertaining to listen to while you're working, but it's not gonna like blow my mind or anything, so I'm assuming it'll probably be around a 3.5 star at this point. I do like Fonda Lee's writing, So that is something I'm enjoying, and she's doing a really good job with the world building despite the fact that this book is relatively short. So I will go ahead and update you on that later. I am hoping to finish it before the end of the day. I'll have to double check to see if that's even possible. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Just popping in for a second because the fire element prompt was taken, but book with a map was not taken. So that is what I submitted this book for. So 10 points for military. All right, guys, so it is a little after 5. I just got off work and I just finished Untethered Skies by Fonda Lee. So I finished this at the last minute, like 4:59 was when the author said the end. So I get off at 5. It was very much barely making it, but we did it, and I'm not quite sure yet what I want to rate this. I think I might need to sit on it for just a little bit. It's either a 3.5 or a 4-star. I really enjoyed the writing. I definitely think it's a very interesting story, but at the same time, it's too short for my personal preference, so I don't know if I can give it a full 4 stars. But for a short story, I think that it was relatively well fleshed out and that it had a decent amount of plot squeezed into it without it feeling crowded. You know, sometimes like when you read a short book and there's just like plot point after plot point after plot point and you're like, whoa, okay, woo. There was enough like mellow moments as well, enough character development, world building. So I might lean towards a 4-star, but we'll see how I feel in like a couple hours or so when I update my spreadsheet. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and upload it for more science prompts, so that'll get me another 24 points. And I don't believe I'll finish anything else today. I am going to start my next physical read, which I haven't double checked the name of that, the Laura Thalassis book. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on that, and then tomorrow I am starting a new audiobook, which is going to be I think it's called Wicked Spirits. It's the second book to Wicked Fox by Kat Cho, so it'll be nice for me to finish a series, but that audiobook is a little longer at 12 hours. So I'm not sure if I'll finish it tomorrow, but I'll definitely try to finish it by the end of the weekend or the end of the readathon. So I will check in with you, probably not today, but probably sometime tomorrow. Hey guys, it is Friday and I'm on my lunch break, so I just wanted to update you guys on The Emperor of Evening Stars by Laura Thalassis. I am about 60 pages into this, so a little under 30% done with it, and just wanted to give you my kind of initial thoughts on it. Not loving it, to be honest. It's kind of weird. I feel like I'm having trouble with the writing, but I'm not sure if it is the writing or if it's Desmond, the character. It might be him. I feel like with Laura Thalassis, it takes me a little while to get into her stories, and then once I start getting more connected to the characters and get more interested in the plot, then I really start to enjoy them. And in this book, we're following just Desmond before he meets his mate and everything, and on his own, I'm not vibing with him very much. I'm not a big fan of the his behavior at this point in the book. He's a little bit mopey, and I don't know, he's giving off just weird vibes, kind of like he looks down on himself, yet at the same time he thinks himself better than other people kind of situation. Is just a little bit weird. And he had this encounter with a prophet, and she was telling him about how he was going to have a mate who is a human, because Calypso, I believe that's her name, is a human. She's a siren, but she's also technically from the human realm. And Desmond spends a lot of time, or not like a lot of time, but something that he does is that he frees slaves, because humans get kidnapped from the human world and they get brought into the fake world and are slaves there. And so he frees them because he doesn't agree that this is something that should be happening. Yet when he found out that he was going to be mates with a human, he like completely changed his tone kind of situation. Like, they're too good to be slaves, because like everyone's too good to be a slave. No one should be a slave. That shouldn't be something that exists. But at the same time, you can definitely see that he very much sees them as inferior and weaker, and he thinks that having a mate, being a human, would make him look weak compared to other fae. And I'm just like, not vibing with that. And the prophet, was all like, you better treat your woman well because, she's better than you. And I was like, yeah, you don't deserve her. And based off his behavior right now, I agree. And I know that he's not supposed to be like a good guy or anything. And obviously being with his mate in the other books is one of the things that makes him a better person, and he obviously changes his tone about being mated with a human and all that. But for now, I feel like the book is kind of sitting at a 3-star. And I think another problem is that we've had glimpses of his past, just what he's told Callie, and just based off what we know will happen, because he's king in the other books, so we know that he's going to overthrow his father in this book. And so there's just not a lot of unexpected things happening. Everything's, kind of predictable. You just kind of feel like you're reading this for extra information. And to a certain degree, I feel like at this point, I don't really need it, but I feel like I won't really know how necessary this book is until 1, I finish it, and 2, I read book 4, because then I would read that and be like, oh, this wouldn't mean as much if I hadn't read that other book. So I don't know, not loving it, but luckily it's short, so not complaining or anything. As far as my audiobook, I haven't started it. I am definitely burned out a little bit on reading, to be honest. So this morning I just spent time either listening to music or listening to YouTube videos, or even just not listening to anything at all and just doing my work. I'm planning on starting it after lunch, since I'll be diving into an easier workload. But I checked how many books I read so far this month, and it's 13, which usually is the amount of books I read in the entire month, if not like slightly on the higher side. I would say like between 10 and 12 is where you can kind of find my average each month. So the fact that I've powered through that many books in the first half of the month, today's the 16th, is definitely more than usual, and I think I'm definitely feeling a little bit burnt out because of that. So I'm dragging a little bit here at the end of the readathon. I'm still hoping to finish this audiobook, not today, but by the end of this readathon on Sunday. But yeah, otherwise I think that I'm someone who loves reading but doesn't love constantly reading. And what I've been doing is like, I get up and I read my physical book, and then while I'm at work I listen to my audiobooks, and while I'm on my lunch break and during my 15-minute breaks I'm reading, and then after work I'm reading. And so it's just been a little bit too much for me, so I just need to take more breaks. But during the readathon, we gotta go hard. We gotta help our team. So we're not complaining, but just don't expect me to be powering through 13 books in 16 days on the regular. That's definitely not going to happen. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do some reading after complaining about how much reading I've been doing. And I will check in with you later. All right, guys. So it is after work. So after 5 o'clock on Friday, finally. And I was just about to chill and watch some booktube. But I wanted to update you on Vicious Spirits, which is the name of the audiobook I'm listening to. It's not wicked spirits, vicious spirits. I think I only got like 2 hours into it, so I think it's maybe a little under 20%. I'm not really going to say what this is about because it's the second book in a series. Let me tell you. You're like leaning on my blanket, so if I move, the blanket moves. And so pretty much in this book, we are following Myung and Jaehoon. And in this book as well, we're also getting the points of view of their friends that I don't know that well. So it is friends Somin and Junnu. I don't know if I'm saying that incorrectly, but we're also getting their points of view. They're side characters in the first book, and now it seems that they're becoming more prevalent to the plot, as well as they're developing a relationship between the two, which I predicted. Like the first time those two interacted, it's not at all surprising. This is a very unflattering angle, so we're just gonna like relocate you a little bit. I'm just trying to like not appear to have as much of a double chin as I do. So anyway, I was planning on listening to this, or let me continue talking about what the first book is about. So Myung is a gumiho, which is like a 9-tailed fox. And in the first book, she loses her bead, and her bee kind of allows her to siphon the chi, or I forget what it is, from men, and that allows her to live. And when she didn't have her bead anymore, it was making her kind of fox side take over, which was making her a bit more violent and things like that. So obviously she and Jihoon were trying to find a way to get that bead back into her so that she can not feel the urge to kill as many people, kind of. And at the end of that book, some stuff went down, and now they're kind of dealing with the consequences of that and just trying to recover. But it seems like there is a situation going on where there's kind of like this in-between world where after you die you kind of go there before you move on to the afterlife, and it seems like there's some sort of rift in their area that is causing a lot of ghosts to be able to like come over, and the more time a ghost spends over there, the more influence they can have on humans, which can obviously have a very negative impact on the human world. So they're going to need to deal with that. At this point in the story, that has only kind of been hinted at that's happening, so I don't know too much on that front of the story. But I couldn't listen to it anymore. It was like starting to annoy me because this was focusing a lot on the beginnings of a romance between Somin and Jinnu, who I feel like I'm saying his name wrong. It's Junnu. Junnu. Anyway, I'm just going to call him Jay. She does not like him. She has a relatively valid reason for not liking him. He played a role in the kind of disaster that was the end of the first book. And so every time they interact, she's like nagging at him and just lashing out at him. And then he's responding by being like flirtatious and stuff, which one I feel is kind of weird because I feel like this is a YA series. And the characters I think are 18, 19. But Jinnu is some sort of mythical creature as well. He's not a gumiho, but he is like a few centuries old, and so it just feels like really awkward for him to, one, have such immature behavior, and two, for him to be crushing on like an 18, 19-year-old, who in my opinion is also acting a little bit like immature. It's not like she's like old for her age, or anything like that. So just listening to their banter or whatever it is was starting to get on my nerves. So that's why I only listened to like a couple hours of it instead of listening to it for the entire second half of my workday. I ended up just like watching YouTube videos, and that's what I'm going to do tonight as well. I don't have any plans on really doing much more reading. I think I mentioned that I'm feeling kind of burnt out, and it's causing me to have a very short temper with my books kind of situation where like I'm really nitpicking them, even with the physical book that I'm reading, Emperor of the Stars or whatever it's called. I feel like I don't care. Like I can't get myself to care about what's happening in that book, like at all. Like not even a little bit. So I'm gonna try and just like step away and not do any reading tonight, because I have been so consistently reading that it's starting to negatively impact my want to read, and therefore negatively impacts my ratings of the books, which I feel like is unfair to the books. I always feel bad when I'm like in a reading slump, but I keep reading and then I rate them low. It's like not the book's fault. It's me. I'm the problem. So bad timing. I would kind of wish this had hit after the readathon ended, but it is what it is. I'm not going to push myself to read when I really don't want to. So I'm just going to chill. The weather is kind of gloomy, kind of cozy. You know, you want to just lay in bed with a blanket and watch some YouTube videos. I am relatively behind on YouTube videos. I have a lot on my watch later list. So I'm going to make my way through those and probably just hang out with my family and whatnot. So yeah, I just wanted to update you on that, and I will check in with you tomorrow.
Uptown on the road, I've been around the floor, rooftops, sliding doors, just wanna know you more. I hope you wanna be with somebody, spending all of the night moonwalking, and with the view she could see her building. Try to tell her I know I feel it. Keep me floating, I'm on my back. Slow me down when I'm living fast. You make me wanna be with somebody, doing things.
Hey guys, so it is Saturday, a little after noon, and I'm heading up to Tacoma to do some shopping. I am planning on going to Half Price Books. However, I'm not going to do like a haul or anything or really film in there, because I'm planning on doing a separate come book shopping with me video, which I am going to break up into a couple parts, because I'm going to go to Half Price Books as well as Barnes & Noble. So just a heads up, I might not do too much filming today since I'm filming for that other thing. But I just went to the library, and before I let you know the book I got, that statue that I videotaped of the woman reading with the kid, when I was coming out of the library, this like little boy walked up to the little boy statue and was like, "Hey mister, what are you reading?" And I was like, oh my gosh, that was so cute. Oh my gosh, I love the public library. At the beginning of the readathon, I think I mentioned this in vlog 1, I put a few graphic novels on hold, and unfortunately most of them didn't come through. In fact, only one of them was available, which is fine. I don't really have that much time to read this weekend anyway, but the one that came in was volume 1 of A Perfect World, and I believe I saw someone on my Goodreads reading this. I don't remember who it is. This is a manga, and it follows a girl who starts a relationship with a guy who's in a wheelchair. Let me read the synopsis. A company get-together reunites 26-year-old Takumi with her high school crush, Itsuki, I think might be his name. In the years they've been apart, Itsuki has realized his dream of becoming an architect, but along the way, he's also suffered a spinal cord injury that's left him in a wheelchair. Seeing Itsuki again rekindles Tsukumi's feelings for him. It also forces her to confront her own hidden prejudices. Itsuki's disability seems like an intimidating obstacle at first, but soon Tsukumi discovers that her world feels imperfect without him. So I do believe this might be a complete completed series, and I am always trying to read more books with disability rep, so I'm hoping that this is done well. So I'll probably try to read it tomorrow. I don't know if I'll get to it today. I might still focus on my Kindle book that I'm working on, but for now I just wanted to let you know what I'm planning today, and then I probably won't be doing too much reading. I'm not listening to my audiobook in the car. When it comes to driving on the highway, which I'll be doing, I have trouble hearing the audiobooks just because of how loud the road is, so I'm not even gonna attempt that or anything like that. So today is kind of gonna be a non-reading day, which, considering how much I've disliked reading the last couple days or so, might be a good thing. But I may check in with you later tonight or again tomorrow. All right, so I'm done at Half Price Books, and I'm hoping to get out the haul video in like early July. So yeah, but I bought a lot and spent a decent amount as well, under $100 luckily, but yeah, definitely more than I was planning on giving out. But I always say when it comes to this Half Price Books that I'm really glad that it's not near me, because I always buy so much, and I actually found like quite a few books that I was really interested in today. So it turned out a really great haul. I'm really excited about it. But I think I'm gonna go and figure out where I want to eat because I'm getting hungry, and then I might just do some clothes shopping, which I personally don't really want to do, but I've been putting it off for too long, and my trip is like in mid-July, and I don't want to be like rushing to try and find maybe like shoes, because I really need some new comfortable walking shoes. So that's what we're gonna do now. But I'm a little bit poorer now, but that's what happens when you go to the bookstore, and that's okay. All right, guys, here we are at my crooked phone angle. So I went to Krispy Kreme for the first time since I was probably like a child. I'm not a huge donut person, and they were pre-picked over. And the guy just gave it to me for free. I think these are like $1.95. We'll see if it's worth the calories. So I got the chocolate with rainbow sprinkles because it looks the prettiest. Whoop. There's a lot of sugar. Like, they have the entire donut glazed, and I don't think they need to do that, because I actually like donut dough, but this, I can like just taste the glaze. So I think they would have been fine if they just glazed the top and then put the chocolate frosting on it. But at this point, it is a little bit too sweet. But it is a little after 4, so I'm about to drive home, and dinner isn't going to be until like after 6. So I haven't had anything to eat today other than my breakfast smoothie. So I need something to tie me over, something sugary to give me the energy to hopefully not deal with traffic. There's a lot of traffic coming up today, and everything has just been so busy. I don't go out a lot, so I'm like, are people always out this much? Like, why are there so many people here? But yeah, hopefully traffic isn't as bad on the way home. I'm gonna finish off my mediocre donut. At least it was free. So thanks to that guy for giving it to me for nothing. So I bought this shirt today at Nordstrom's, and I was like, it looks so familiar, but I really love the look of it, and I really love the fabric. And the reason it looks familiar is because I already own the same shirt by the same company. The only difference is that this one has frilly sleeves and this one just has normal sleeves. So you can tell I really like this look. Hey guys, so it is Sunday, the last day of the readathon, and also Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. That does mean that I may not do a lot of reading today. I did start, what is this called? Perfect World this morning. I read just the first chapter. So I read just like this much of the story, but I am hoping to go ahead and finish this today. As far as The Emperor of the Evening Stars, I got to the 50% mark yesterday. We'll see if I finish it. I'm definitely in a reading slump. So yesterday I did barely any reading whatsoever, but I was also really busy yesterday, and it may possibly be busy today, but I'll see if I can sneak in a couple of those last minute points for my team. I have no idea how our team's doing. In my reading slump and busyness, I haven't even really checked the Discord or anything, so yeah. I guess I'll just figure out where we land at the end. The other reason I popped on here, the main reason, is that I got a book box from Barnes and Noble, and I'm believing it's a pre-order because I haven't ordered anything recently. I'm thinking it's Ali Hazelwood's book. Has her book recently come out? Because I think I only pre-ordered 3 books this year. I'm not a big pre-order girl. I just know that I'm terrible at reading books, you know, until I've had them on my shelf for a few months usually, unless it's a continuation of a series. So there's no reason for me to like pre-order them because chances are I'm not gonna like read them right away anyway. So I pre-ordered The Life of Puppets by TJ Klune, which I already got. The other one was the second book to Iron Widow, which I believe has been pushed back to next year, which is why I'm thinking that this is the Ali Hazelwood book. So this is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I believe I've read 3 of her books. I still need to read 2 of the novellas, and I'm planning on reading those 2 before I jump into this one, so it may still be a few months before I read this. Ali Hazelwood, I think she has kind of like a algorithm, I guess you may call it, that she uses with her books, and so they are on the similar side, which is why I try to keep a few months in between reading her work so that I don't like get bored with it or anything. I gave The Love Hypothesis 5 stars and Love on the Brain, I think I gave it 4.5 stars. I wasn't as happy with the novella, but I'm just not a novella girly, so that is a-okay. So it seems she is a adjunct professor, and she doesn't get a lot of money doing that. She's teaching thermodynamics and hoping to land tenure. And because her check is so minuscule, she gets additional money by fake dating. So he seems to be the older brother of one of her favorite clients, and is also the head of the physics department at MIT, and is what's standing between her and her dream job. So yeah, more women in STEM. I know some people pointed out that this guy doesn't look like, is it Adam Driver? Is that his name? And so all those people who don't like Adam Driver, or I don't know, don't like fan fiction based off him, are excited about that. I personally don't care about Adam Driver or Star Wars, Star Trek, whichever one he's from. So that never interfered with my enjoyment of the story because I was like never imagining him or anything. But yeah, I'm excited for this, as I am for all Ali Hazelwood books, and I will add it to my bookshelf now. All right, guys, so I will probably check in with you tonight to wrap up this vlog. I may possibly wait until tomorrow morning to completely wrap up everything. If I finish some books, I'll check in with you, just because I have a feeling I won't know the outcome of the readathon until tomorrow morning, because it does go through midnight tonight. So I may pop in tomorrow as well to just let you know the outcome and how my team did, because I'm hoping we didn't get last place. You know, third place, that's fine. I don't want to get last place again. So yeah, I will check it with you later. Hey guys, so it is exactly 11 o'clock on Sunday and I just finished Perfect World Volume 1 and I decided to use this for science prompts. It's the last day, so I'm just trying to rack up as many points as possible, and the science prompts are the ones that allow me to get the most points, 24 points total. I decided to do this using the TBR vet prompt. I checked and it looks like I added this to my TBR at least a year ago, so I think that makes it a veteran. And then I also did for the 16-point prompt graphic novel, since this is a manga slash graphic novel situation. I think I'm going to give this 3.5 stars. I really enjoyed the discussions that it had about what it means to be disabled. The author very much didn't romanticize being in a wheelchair and let us know the struggles that people in wheelchairs face and some of the obstacles that they and their partner may face in a relationship, and I look forward to the author continuing to do that throughout this series. I thought our main character, the female, was very cute and that she did a good job at looking at her own prejudice and just learning as much as she can and growing as a person to be someone that I'm not remembering any of their names. Is it Asuki? Someone that Asuki can rely on. So the reason it didn't get a higher rating is just, I think it was just not very exciting, the book. It's contemporary manga, and so there's not much going on. The only other manga I have ever read was Full Metal Alchemist, and that had a lot of humor and action and whatnot going on in it, and so this just felt a little bit flat, but I do really enjoy the disability representation and am very intrigued by their relationship, so I do believe I will continue this manga series. I know that there's like 12 out right now. I don't know if it's completed, but hopefully my library has all of them, and I look forward to reading more about this couple. I'm gonna go ahead and try and figure out what I want to make for dinner for my dad, and I think I'm gonna see about maybe making some peanut butter cookies, either that or chocolate chip cookies, because those are cookies that he likes. But yeah, I will still try to do some reading today. The weather is kind of crappy, so I don't think we're probably gonna go out and do too much. So I may still have time to squeeze that in, but I will check in with you later if I do so.
I'm still in love with my ex and it's just my luck. Wish I didn't care so much, cause me and her don't make sense and it bugs me up. I'm still in love but love sucks. Before you and I, what was hers was mine. And I'm sorry, I swear I thought that my heart was ready, but I can't keep her off my mind. And I'm not alright. Had a thought when I was faded, why they call it love when you hate it. I'm still in love with my ex and it's just my luck. Wish I didn't care so much, cause me and her don't make sense and it bugs me up. I'm still in love but love sucks. Love sucks. Love sucks. Let me lay you in inside my bed, cause I don't really have a heart to say. Take a look in there, tell me if it's anything you wanna fuck with. Probably not, honestly you'll never take a place. When I look at you I see your face. Yeah, 6 a.m. we're taking shots in the morning up on the counter. Like oh my god, had a thought when I was faded, why they call it love
love when you hate it.
I'm still in love with my ex and it's just my luck. Wish I didn't care so much, cause me and her don't make sense and it fucks me up. I'm still in love but love sucks. Love sucks. I'm sorry, I swear I thought that my heart was ready, but I can't keep her off my mind. And I'm sorry, you want me, I want her, she don't want me, but I can't keep her off my.
Hey guys, so it is Monday morning and I'm here to wrap up this vlog. So to start off with, I did finish The Emperor of Evening Stars by Laura Thalassis, and I finished this at around like a little before 11:30 last night. So we really snuck in there at the end, but we got it and I submitted it for science points. I believe I did male main character for the 8 points, and then I did continuous series for the 16 points. So once again, got a total of 24 points for that bad boy. Now I'm giving this 2.5 stars. Did not have a good time whatsoever. The crazy thing is, just a few days before I started this, I was scrolling through Instagram through my For You page, so like not even people that I follow, and this one girl popped up where she was talking about how Rhapsodic is problematic because Desmond is a groomer. And I was kind of like, I didn't feel that way because like reading it from the point of view of Calypso, I kind of got the feeling that he was more like a friend, he was more like a big brother kind of situation. It kind of felt like if your big brother has a friend and they come over and it's not like weird kind of situation. That's the way I read it. Maybe I was just trying to like make it not creepy. But reading it from his point of view, he is 100% a groomer. It was so uncomfortable reading this book, especially since when he first meets her, she's like 16, and then he kind of like sends her to this private school because she had killed her father and she didn't have any other family. So he's like, I'm gonna send you to the school so you can like be there until you're 18, and you don't need to like worry about where you have to go kind of situation. And I have to admit, I didn't know that he knew that she was his mate the first time that they met. Like I didn't think he knew that until the night that he disappeared and then didn't show up for like 7 years. But he did know. And that made it super creepy. And I wonder if this is why people don't really like fated mates, because yes, maybe he kept trying to say like, oh, it wasn't like sexual, it wasn't like lust filled, but at the same time knowing that she was his mate and that he had plans on like marrying her and having like a ton of kids with her and stuff, made it very hard to ignore the fact that in a way, no matter how hard he tried not to think about it, it very much was sexual. Even when she was 16 years old. There was this one line, like he took her to a school dance, and he was talking about like how the dress made her like not look like a teenager, but made her look like his queen, which he was like aging her up even though she was still very much 16 years old. And on that same night he said, my mate was ripe for the taking. And I was just like, all I can say is that we can just thank his magic for sending him away for 7 years. That's all we can do, because like pretty much she asks for a final wish for him to always be hers, and his magic decides to take it, and that the payment for that is for them to be separated for 7 years. Which, thank you, magic. This magic was just like, dude, you're being a pedo right now, so we're just gonna banish you from her for like 7 years because she's literally a child and this is disgusting. So I did have to give it 2.5 stars. Also, I don't really care about Desmond that much, so I didn't really like his parts. This does go through the end of book 2, so we do get to see his point of view when they first are reunited, after they're separated for 7 years. And I did enjoy that part more because now she's a legal adult. And things aren't creepy. So Desmond is definitely sullied in my mind. I was never the biggest fan of him. I know a lot of people love him when it comes to like a fantasy romance love interest. I never really loved him. Is it because he's blonde or has white hair instead of dark hair? I don't know, but now it's because he's kind of a predator. So I'm definitely gonna read the 4th book, and if I give it a higher rating, just know that I am for sure still keeping in mind that this guy had a bit of a predatory relationship with Calypso at the beginning, and that it is Calypso that I love and not Desmond. So yeah, that was definitely disappointing. I would say that reading this novella is not necessary for the series. It's probably better if you skip it if you want to keep Desmond on a pedestal, because he's kind of ruined in this book, in my opinion. But yeah, anyway, so let's go ahead and, like last week, I had my stats up, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that up again. So let's take a look at what I was doing, or how I did this week, and then we'll go through my overall stats. I don't have a spreadsheet like this for the overall stats. I'll just go ahead and read them off. But here you can see that I read 8 books this week. I think last week I read 6, so I read a couple more this week. I read 4 audiobooks, which were She Drives Me Crazy, Love and Other Disasters, The Empress of Salt and Fortune, and Untethered Sky, as well as 4 physical books, Everything I Never Told You, Warriors, Into the Wild, and Perfect World Volume 1, as well as The Emperor of Evening Stars. I read 1,894 pages this week, which is less than last week. And point-wise, I did quite a bit better. I think last week I got like 75 points or something like that. But this week I got 180 points, 30 military, and 150 science. The fact that we could use the 2 highest prompts on the science board every time we used it really helped our team rack up those points. So for the military, I used Everything I Never Told You. I used the prompt of having a water element. I also used She Drives Me Crazy for a military prompt, specifically a small town setting. And the last military was Warriors Into the Wild, which was to read a book with a map. The rest were science, Love and Other Disasters, a new to me author, as well as Own Voices book, The Empress of Salt and Fortune, new to me author again, as well as Start a Series. Untethered Sky, I read from before, the author I read from before, I should say, and it had an even number of pages. Perfect World was a TBR veteran, as well as a graphic novel, and The Emperor of Evening Stars was a male main character and continue a series. Oh, and I'm just realizing that I didn't put how many books I read, so sorry, that's not showing on the spreadsheet, but you can see them there, so you can see that there's 8. All right, and as far as the overall stats go, I read a total of 14 books. I read 3,914 pages and gathered 225 points for my team. Now, I was going to say what the outcome of the readathon is, but I don't think that's up yet. I was kind of trying to like navigate the Discord, and there was a lot of like updates, but I don't think the final results are out. So I do not know where my team stands. When I last checked, it seemed like we were in 3rd place, but had the most amount of wonder points. I have to admit, as far as this readathon goes, it's a little bit above my pay grade. So I don't know how we got the most points, but got 3rd place. There's got to be like a lot of other stuff going on. So I don't know how we did, but I would suggest following Liz. I, of course, have her linked down below. I'm sure she's going to do a vlog for this entire experience, and we'll have it all spelled out in there. Okay, she's the mastermind. I'm just here for a good time, and I did have a good time. I read a lot of books, so I am very happy with the outcome of this readathon, and I hope you guys had some fun coming along with me. As always, thank you so much for supporting my channel by watching my videos, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!